Hi guys, this is Lashette from Scarlet Moon Creations, and I am back with a new video. This is my December wrap-up. I'm wrapping up the last of the books I read in the month of December and giving you my reading stats. 2023 is over. The end. Anyway, let's go. My hair is doing what it's doing. I desperately need to trim my ends, but I can't find my hair scissors, and I refuse to use anything else. No, I don't go to the salon. I don't no. So anyway, links in the description for ways you can help the people of Palestine and the people of the Democratic Republic of Congo. This includes links to people who are native to those areas who have been able to share what's going on currently, some links to websites where you can find out what's been happening historically, kind of a rundown or condensed version of those from social media. There are also sources for ways you can donate, what you can boycott, alternatives, how you can contact your local senators and representatives if you're living here in the United States to make change happen, and some protests. But those links have been in the description. I update them when I can, when I know more, and I urge you to look at the natives' social media accounts with some caution. Like, be prepared. It's pretty violent and vile and heartbreaking, so you are warned. That being said, let's do the stats for the month of December. First, in December, I read a total of 6 books, 2,372 pages, no audio book hours listened, or at least not from any completed books, which is all we talk about in this. I get my stats from Storygraph because that makes my life easier. Moods. Moods is a thing that Storygraph has, and I have 3 moods that were equally 25% of this month, and so 3 books each. Yes. Emotional, dark, and adventurous. Dark and emotional, those are the first time those have been top moods. So, what books were those? I'm clicking. Okay, I see. Yeah, okay. One of those books I talked about in my mid-December wrap-up, and oh, I see. For dark, I think, yeah, I see. 2, there's 1 overlap with dark and emotional, which I understand. What's an overlap? Yes. Okay. It's because there's 2 books I'm going to talk about in this video that encapsulate 2 of those moods, and 1 I've talked about that encapsulates 2 of those moods as well. There's overlap in general. Tense, mysterious, and lighthearted are the others. Only 1 book I read was lighthearted, so it is what it is. Alright, as far as my pacing goes, the majority of the books I read were medium pace, understandably, at 50% actually. The other 33% are fast-paced, and the last 17 were slow. Page count. 50% of the books I read were between 300 and 500 pages. Only one was over 500 pages. We talked about that, Fool's Fate. And the others were less than 300 pages. All were fiction, and 4 out of the 6 were fantasy. Alright. Formats. 83%, meaning 5, were... I read them physically, and yeah, 1 book I read digitally. All were in English, and last but not least, my ratings. Average rating was a 3.92 stars. I read 1 5-star book, 1 4.5-star book, 3 4-star books, and 1 2-star book. So let's get into the books, the last 3 books of the year. I was hoping to read more, particularly from the graphic novel and comics, but it's okay. I did decently enough. The next book I want to talk to you about was The Bride Test by Helen Huang. This is book 2 in the, I think it was the Kiss Quotient trilogy or series. I want to say that I do have my window closed, but I'm filming later in the day than I normally would to avoid these issues. There's more people outside, more random nonsense from the police. So, also, my heat is coming up, which is a good thing for me, but you might hear it. Alright, so I read The Kiss Quotient a while ago, and I had it on my list to finish this trilogy this year in 2023. That did not happen, but I finally got around to reading book 2, and this is a contemporary romance. We're following the brother of Michael's friend, if I'm remembering correctly. So these are well known to have a mental disability rep, particularly main characters in love interest on the spectrum or autism. And in this one, we're following Kai, who is the male love interest, who is autistic, and Esme, or I'll stick with Esme, even though that's not her real name. But for the majority of the book, that's what Kai knows her as. So Kai is on the spectrum. We start out the book and they're at a funeral for his best friend, a cousin of his who passed away. We don't know how. But it's one of his older family members, or I guess one of his aunts, the cousin's mother, didn't see Kai having a outward and obvious expression of his grief, so she said something to him that was kind of hurtful, that made him think that he can't feel emotions the way other people do, and there's certain emotions like love that he can't feel at all. So flash forward to, he's a grown-ass man now, and Kai's mother is like despairing of the fact that her son has never been in a relationship. So she, while on a trip to Vietnam, are you serious right now? Yeah, if you hear beeping, a school bus is backing up across the street. This is why I film earlier in the day. Let me get this right. I think it's is her real name. Esme is, I need to check up on that. But Esme is not American. Kai and his mother both live in California. And their family is, it seems for the most part, in California and or the U.S. While on the trip, Kai's mother in Vietnam is like interviewing girls to be his wife, right? Trying to do the whole arranged marriage thing. And none of these ladies are working out until she comes across this janitor, this girl, this woman, young lady, whatever, cleaning the bathrooms in a hotel, Esme. And something sparks her about Esme, and she invites her to come to the United States for the summer and basically make her son, fall in love in the summer, and she'll have a better life. Unbeknownst to them, Mai has a background connected to the United States, but she also has some personal secrets that she's hiding. So, with some convincing from her own mother, and Esme changes her name to Esme and goes to the U.S. to seduce Kai, and it doesn't work out the way she thought. Kai, on his end, and his brother Quan are both, to an extent, different extents, shocked to find out that their mother is doing this, and Kai doesn't know what to do because not only is Esme coming, but she's also going to be living with him, and the story continues from there. I appreciate that. It's just, it doesn't seem like it on this channel, but I do read a lot of romance, and I'm trying to read more. I love this. It's truly contemporary, it's modern day, but it's also not stereotypical. Probably because we have a non-white author who is on the spectrum, but also has a mother who immigrated to this country and somehow, through all of the struggles that she went through, made it work so her children could grow up living, in her mind, a better life. We get some background from the author, both in the author's note and afterwards, I guess, towards the end. So that's how I know these things. We get, different from the first book, the Pitch Quotient, we get a male perspective of autistic male. We have Asian characters. There's this background. Both of them are attracted to each other, but they have different focuses in life and purposes, and they're not aware of each other. There is somewhat of a language barrier. Kai does speak and understand Vietnamese to an extent, but not fluent, and Mai speaks and understands a little bit of English, but far from fluent. She is trying to make it, and Kai seems like her only option, but he doesn't realize that. He's trying to be respectful of her, but also is attracted and is in love with her, but doesn't really realize it. I appreciate how his brother dealt with the various situations. Quan just seems like the type of person who has a very high emotional IQ, emotional quotient, right? Like EQ. He's just very good with people and sussing out how they really feel, and then like dealing with them. It's not just Kai, also Esme, but their mother and the various family members around them. He's just really good at that, and it seems like random strangers as well. Very intuitive and empathetic, and not like bullying people to feel what he wants them to feel or react the way he wants them to react. I don't know how to say it. I believe the third book is about Quan, so that's kind of why I'm mentioning it. I gave this 4 stars. The chemistry between them is great. I don't love the one thing that Esme is hiding, or one of the things Esme is hiding from everyone. I understand though. having never been in that situation, I can't, judge. I just know how I feel, right? I'm glad everything turned out well. And I had a feeling about some of the things that Kai was doing, um, why, and that turned out to be correct. But I liked that I couldn't figure out like the exact details of it, and so I feel like this was written well. Like there's like little mystery aspects to their backgrounds and personalities, and like, and you find out as they find out more about each other. They're good people and they're doing the best they can, and I appreciate them. I was confused though. So like in the beginning, something about the very beginning where it's like his family, he has this diagnosis from childhood, but his family doesn't believe it, so they just kind of ignore it. But his mom and his brother are aware and believe it, and they adjust it. I guess the extended family doesn't, and so they kind of treat him like he's this eccentric millionaire for whatever reasons. That was a little bit confusing, that assertion. Like, yeah, he has this diagnosis, but they don't believe in that, so they just ignore it and treat him like, I don't know. So, read it. I can't wait to get to book 3 finally. The next book I finished, Black Cloud by Jason Latar, Ivan Brandon, Greg Hinkle, Matt Wilson. This is volume 1, No Exit. This was the November pick for the Realm of Comics book club. I just watched Ashley's video on Realm of Comics, their YouTube channel, and the 2024 list is out for the book club, and I don't remember which month this is for, but the last couple of months we didn't do the live shows and whatnot because Ashley and Bree both got busy, and so they decided for 2024, those months that we missed out on, we'll be reading those books again. So, but I kept reading anyway. I didn't know that they were going to do that. So here we are. Volume 1, No Exit, contains issues 1 through 5. This is a comic book series. It's a futuristic sci-fi thing that was very confusing. I gave it 2 stars. I feel like everything was just outside of the norm for me. I couldn't quite get a grasp on what this was. And it being called Black Cloud fits that. I'd be willing to read more to understand better. So in this, we're kind of following Zelda, who is our main character, and here's another bus backing up. So Zelda is one of many regular human beings who have the ability, it seems, to either jump worlds or dreams or realities. I don't know, right? But she's somehow able to create doorways, it seems like, with some type of drug. We start out in the present day, in the real world. I'm doing that because I am not sure, right? But we're just going to use that so I can go to my next point, right? And she's kind of poor, but comes across this mayor's son, or a guy who's running for mayor, rerunning for mayor. His son kind of gets hooked, and the guy is like, hey, my son's a fuck up. Would you actually keep him in one of these other worlds until I win, and then you can bring him back? So she does that. But we find out in this other world, she's not actually really welcome there. So she leaves him, and then we find out a lot of the backstory of, Zelda and some of these worlds and her former partner and all of this stuff as she goes through these things and find out what happened to the kid while he was stuck there a lot longer than Zelda realized. So this kind of sort of ends on a cliffhanger, and it seems a little bit of an ominous cliffhanger as well, because, yeah. Alright, let me start with the art style. I don't hate it. I really don't. It's not bad, right? I don't love it though, because sometimes I'm not sure what's being indicated here. Quite often Zelda's whole look changes, like her hair, her outfits, and like I was like, who is this? I don't know. So it's a little messy and a little not anatomically correct, where in several of the characters, their body shapes change, their proportions change, and that's an annoyance I have. Like, I need, that makes people look different, especially when we're doing scenes from afar, and it's just like, that doesn't look like the same person. If I can't see the details of their face, you go by body shape, body type, and now it's different. I'm like, so that's confusing. Add to it, the alternate realities or dreams or hallucinations, I don't know what they are, right, that we're jumping between are different, and because of being dreams or alternate realities, whatever, that made it even more confusing. Confusion is the word of this volume. I didn't hate it though. Everything was slightly beyond my understanding, which made that annoying, which 2 stars. Plus the fact that it ended on a cliffhanger, and not a lot was explained at all. Like nothing was explained, because you're plopped into this world of this comic series as if you are Zelda. So Zelda has already lived this life, and everybody's having conversations with her. She's having conversations with others, but nobody's giving a backstory, right? The little bit of backstory we got was from Zelda's like memories, so she doesn't need to explain to herself like why she did this or why other people did that. It's just like, oh, we got to this place and I shouldn't have run away. And I'm like, she's like, yeah, and there were consequences, but what consequences? I don't know. Why shouldn't you have run away? I don't know. So, yeah, like you're in the middle of, you join the conversation halfway through and no one explains the parts you missed. Everything is confusing. Like I said, I do want to read more to at least for the plot understand, even if I never fully understand the world, which I feel like is kind of off purpose. The last book I finished in December, the last book of 2023, it was a graphic novel. This is Monstrous Volume 6, The Vow. I have been reading Monstrous for a while. I did not pick this up in over a year because I knew it wasn't complete, and the author Marie Lu and Sana Takeda, the artist, had not, they took like a little hiatus for a bit, and I knew something new wasn't coming out for a while. So I was like, let me pause where I'm at, and happily I'm picking this up again. This series is confusing. There's a lot of characters and a lot going on. And honestly, I think my biggest issue is the fact that various groups have somewhat similar names. Not in the actual word, but in like the general meaning they would have to me as a person who speaks English. So, like, there's the Ancients, there's the Arcanics, there's the Dawn Court, the Wave Court, the Dusk Court, and, like, everybody except for humans and the cat beings, which I forget what they're called. Oh my god, I'm such a bad person. But I think there's like the gods or something like that, and I'm just like, the old gods and the ancients. I'm like, those are not the same things. But anyway, this series is absolutely beautiful, and I will mention the Realm of Comics Book Club because they plan on reading volumes 1 through 3, I think, in October or November of this year. So my plan is to reread with them and to make notes because it needs to be done. Anyway, the beginning of this series, we're following Micah Half-Wolf, a young lady who has been on the run. She is searching for something that was hidden by her mother who has passed away. And there are many factions after her. In the beginning, we're focusing on the witches. They believe she has some kind of weapon that would be helpful for her. Over the course of this series, things are slowly unfolded, but wars are also slowly starting to happen, which is upsetting Micah and many other regular people and regular denizens of these various races, as they've recently gotten out of what seems like world wars already. So to come back and do it again is devastating. Well, we ended on a reveal. Kippa is one of the most adorable characters ever drawn. She's right up there with Anya from Spy Family for me. But Kippa is doing her thing, and Micah has figured out some stuff and is still trying to figure out some other stuff. It seems like some of the factions that were against each other might be coming to have temporary truces right now. Figuring out who the real bad guy is, maybe. And I like that there's been some character development. It's just when you go into this, you don't realize how complex it's going to be and how many factions there will be. People or things are mentioned and you're like, okay, but then like they are real life and you're like, oh, and not what you're expecting. And there are not only the factions, but some people are betraying others and whatnot. So enjoyable, but a little bit of a mind trip. It was hilarious. I went on Goodreads and I was like, what should I say? So I looked through other people's reviews and everybody's like, as usual, I don't know what's going on, but I'm enjoying it. And I have to agree, like, it's very confusing, but beautiful. And when compared to Black Cloud, more, I think, understandable. So it's not quite as what the fuck, but it's just a lot. And I think Marjorie is doing a good job leading us along with this story. It's like, you know, this is going somewhere. It's not pointless, all of these tendrils, or I don't want to say plot points because I don't think there are multiple plot points. I think it seems like it in the beginning, but we're slowly coalescing. And as we go, we get these little snippets from Professor Tam Tam explaining some of the historical stuff that is making some choices of people today make more sense. But ultimately, we're finding out as Micah finds out, and I appreciate that. So that was the last book. I gave it 4 stars, and I still enjoy these. I will one day purchase them because these are gorgeous. Gorgeous. Sana Takeda, amazing artist. I saw that she and Marjorie Liu have started another series, and I'm like, y'all better finish this. But the other series also looks beautiful, so I can't wait to finish. So those were the books, the last of the books I read in the month of December 2023, the last of the books, therefore I read in the year of 2023. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these. Give me a little ship emoji, because several of these books have ships in them, or travel by ship has been mentioned. Like this video if you like this, subscribe. If you are new, hit the notification bell so you know when the next video is coming. My end of year bookish content is coming this month. My least fave, my most disappointing, most surprising, favorite books of the year coming to you in January 2024. I always do this in January because I need to finish the last December book before I can pick. But, so stay tuned for those, and maybe a stats video. Links in the description to ways you can learn more about and support the Palestinians, and learn more about and support the Congolese, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Links also to my Storygraph or Goodreads account if you'd like to follow me or friend me on either of those. I have the Remix Classics read-along going this year. Reading 1, potentially 2 books per month from that series of books where they remix the classics. I'll link to my announcement video there. But on Storygraph, I have the reading challenge for the whole year, and I've created individual read-alongs for each book. If you would like to join us and talk about the books as we read them, go check those out. This month, January, we are reading Clash of Steel by C.B. Lee, and the classic that is remixing is Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. So if you want to read that or reread it, the read along for that is there as well. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter. Twitter, I do talk about books more, but Instagram, my stories, you'll probably see sometimes bookish content. You can also check out my Etsy shop, which will be reopening soon, where I make all natural bath and body products for magical and mundane purposes. There's a 10% off discount code for when I am shipping orders again. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.